Life is good and I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to show you a life hack for McDonald's sausage McMuffin with egg. We begin with the pan. A lot of people like to use a muffin pan. That's what I saw on a lot of recipes, but they don't work well. They can work, but they don't work well because you can see they're smaller than a muffin, a toaster muffin. So what I got was this whoopee pan. I had to go online. You can go online. You can find them online anywhere from $7 to $20. It's crazy. But I have a Wilton one and I thought it was pretty reasonable. Now let's get started. We have to have the eggs. And the first thing we're going to do is put some pan or some kind of oven. And you want to put, I already had some on here, so I'm just putting a little bit, some kind of release. You could use melted butter if you wanted to. You could use anything you have, olive oil if you want to, it doesn't matter. But you want it to be well covered for the eggs. Now, large eggs and extra large eggs won't fit in here. You'll have a problem with them overflowing or getting ready to overflow. So what I use are medium eggs. They fill the cavities in the whoopee pan perfectly. One thing about eggs, I learned that hitting them against the edge of a bowl, like we normally do, many people do, causes eggshell to go into the egg. So I don't like to do that. This bowl I have here has a rounded edge, so I can use it, or I can use my countertop here where I have a little covering on it to kind of get any leftovers. Some stuff is going to fall out, but I'm just going to use my bowl here. I'm going to crack it, and I'm going to put the egg in there. Fresh eggs. Going quite easy, fit perfectly. Now, what I am doing here is something I learned, and I really kind of liked it, from watching a PBS show, cooking show, and they had a guest, and the guest would, every time he cracked eggs, he had to crack a bunch of eggs like this for the host of the show. And he didn't say why he did this, but in my mind's eye, I'm thinking he's Italian, and he's of the age that he could very well have been a child in Italy during World War II. And food was probably very scarce, and he probably helped his grandmother or his mother cook there at that time, and he probably saw his grandmother saving every bit of those eggs. And I realize when I do this, there's at least a couple extra bites I'm getting when I clean the eggshell out well. Okay, I have finished putting all the eggs in the whoopee pan, and I've gone ahead and salt and peppered each one. You want to flavor them any way you want to flavor them. I want to tell you, I'm wearing an apron that belonged to my sister when she was a flight attendant for Continental Airlines. I have a lot of different aprons. The aprons I collect have personal meaning to me, and you'll see some others down the road when I'm doing other cooking segments. Next, with the hack. We got our whoopee pan, we've got medium eggs in there, and now we have to prepare the eggs for cooking. The one thing McDonald's does is cut the yolks. You can cut the yolks with anything you want, you know, a knife, a fork. I just found, and I tried all those other things, the easiest thing for me to use was these scissors. They're boning scissors or deboning scissors. Something I use them with chicken to break and cut through their bones. But as you can see, this will disperse. What the purpose of doing this, McDonald's does it, breaks the yolks to spread the yolk so that what their idea is to get a bite of yolk in every bite you take, a bit of yolk in every bite you take. And I think it's a good idea. Now, I've got just about all of them done. We're going to put them in an oven at 350 degrees, and they'll only take about 10 to 15 minutes. Depends, they're pretty finicky to your own oven, different for every oven. So watch them the first time you do them and make sure you get them out at the right time. What's the right time? Well, you know what an egg looks like when it's cooked. The white is, the yolk is firm looking. It almost looks like a spread out hard-boiled egg, pretty much. And surrounded with the white. Okay, the oven is preheated to 350 and we're ready to put our whoopie eggs in. They'll be full, so you want to do this slowly. Just slide them on your rack carefully. Push them in. You've got, I'd say, anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes, even 8, depending on how fast your oven cooks. And I'm going to keep an eye on them until they're ready. Be back in about 10 or 15 minutes. Life is good, and my eggs turned out pretty doggone well. I use a little skewer to go around the edges of the eggs after I take them out because there is still some sticking to. When they cook, sometimes you might find that they will kind of blow up a little bit, bubble up. And just use your skewer, whatever you have, and not just poke them, you're going to have to really cut into them. Make a little hole to release that, that air. And then you've got your egg. I get a little spatula, plastic spatula, pick them up out of the tin, and I put them on a wire rack to dry a bit and cool off. The reason I say dry is because originally when I was making these, they were to be frozen. So the kids and my husband and myself could go in the freezer, take one out, pop it in the microwave and cook it. But what has happened is they're eaten so quickly, I don't need to freeze them. What I do is put them in containers. I like these because they fit the eggs perfectly stacked here. And I still have some sausages here. The sausages, the first time I made the sausages, I did make my own from pork sausage, ground pork, and but I couldn't get them to get as thin as these. So I buy the pre-cooked ones in a bag, and then I saute them to brown them because they're not so brown when you get the frozen ones. I also use these turkey ones. I'm the one that uses the turkey ones. The kids don't, but they're the ones that that I will use on my egg. And then you just stack your muffin. I am using, and you can use the cheese that you want because you can use any cheese now. You don't have to use that American cheese like McDonald's uses unless you love that. I chose today to use Gouda, and Gouda is a little bit soft, so I like to kind of cut it, tear it, and so I don't have any dripping over that I lose. I want every bit of this lovely Gouda. And then I put a egg on the top one, and I take a sausage on the bottom one, and I put this in the microwave. Only takes a few seconds. I'll be back in a minute. Less than a minute. My McMuffin with sausage and egg is done. It's finished. I'll eat it in just a minute. But first I wanted to let you know that when I first started making these, I made them with the purpose of freezing them for the family members and guests that come over, friends that come over. But they would not last. They went so quickly, I was able to keep them in the refrigerator. I keep them in containers such as these, my eggs in one and my sausage in the other. And when I'm ready to put it together, I just toast a muffin and get my cheese ready, put it together as I showed you, put it in the microwave, and it's done. Meanwhile, if you wanted to freeze them, you can do that by putting the sandwich together, wrapping it in wax paper, and then putting them all in a large bag, as many as you can get in a large bag. Take the air out of it as best you can, stick it in the freezer, and then you can get one at a time. Now, sausage isn't the only thing you can put in this sandwich, of course. You can put any meat in it. You can put bacon, Canadian bacon. You can put other sausages, link sausages. Cut them in half. I would cut them in half. Whatever you like, it's up to you. The cheese is up to you. The eggs are up to you. And by the way, the eggs can be all white if you prefer that, if that's what you use. I would get the whites from the grocery store, pour them into the whoopie pan, cook them up the same way we did. Might take less time though, and I don't know about the bubbling factor on an all white one. Anyway, if you like this video, please subscribe, and there will be more videos coming. It's more for, not just for cooking, but for anything that makes life good. That'll come your way, and I assure you, you will like it. Have a good day.